Coming up on today's Locked On Mavs, we have returning guest Mike Shed, the Shedder, longtime former Mavs assistant coach. And man, we talk about just the offseason. I wanted to get his perspective. He's always a blast to talk to. Talk about JaVale McGee, Christian Wood, Jalen Brunson, and so much more on today's Locked On Mavs.
Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Oh, welcome to Locked On Mavs. This is one of your co-hosts, half of Locked On Mavs, contributor to Mavs.com, Isaac Harris. Still missing Nick. But today, I'm joined by Mike Shed. Longtime Mavs assistant coach for, I think, 15 years. I think we even talk about that on the pod briefly. But, man, Mike comes back. He hops back on the show to talk about JaVale McGee. He was assistant coach when JaVale McGee was in Dallas. We talk about Christian Wood, the departure of Jalen Brunson a little bit, and just his perspectives on some different situations that's happened in the past, how it can relate to now. It's always a blast to have Mike on the pod. Hope you guys enjoy it. So, yeah, enough chit-chatting to our conversation with Mike Shed. I'm here with returning guest, Mike Shed, an overwhelming favorite. Anytime you're on the pod, the amount of DMs, messages, comments on YouTube that we get of like, hey, you have to bring Mike Shed back. It literally is. It's overwhelming. It's awesome.
That's great to hear. I love being on. No, Nate's not here. I mean, Nick's not here, but you're running solo this week. Is he on vacation?
Yeah, so yeah, he's traveling with his wife, taking a little vacation, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna make some calls. So you hopping on, and I think this pod will come out at the first of next week. So
okay.
Either right before you, right after you is Jeff Skin Wade. So
I just saw Skin the other day. I was just texting with him. I forgot where I saw him. We like stopped traffic, got out of the cars, hugged it out, bro hugged it, and then allowed traffic to keep going.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Okay, well, I want to ask you about just the Mavs offseason. Ask you a little bit about Brunson, JaVale. Obviously, if you're watching the pod, you know Shatter here was assistant coach for the Mavs for pretty much ever, and 15 years. And so yeah, let's start off with Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
When Brunson came in to the Mavs, obviously he was a second round pick. Did you ever imagine that, 4 years later there would be a Brunson sweepstakes? There would be, we're talking $28 million, a massive, $100 million deal. Could you imagine that back then?
Well, I guess I couldn't imagine it at that level, but Jalen has been since Villanova the ultimate pro. Like, if there's ever been a guy that was about the right stuff, did the right stuff, team first, always did his work, always did his studies. So for a guy to get to where he is, and he earned every bit of it, so did I ever see him as a $25 million a year guy? No. Did I see him as a 15-year pro? Absolutely. So, I mean, the stars all aligned for him at the right time when Luka missed games, and he thrived in those minutes. And they couldn't play they were better with him on the floor, which gets you paid. And then in big moments, he played big, which is what he's done forever. All of his stuff. So to see him is funny when I sit back and watch the playoffs, and Luka missed a couple games, and Jalen was the dude. And in my mind, I'm going, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I'm like, that number is getting bigger and bigger, and each round they go next to he's getting bigger. And I honestly thought the Mavs would be able to keep him. It would hamstring him a lot, but I just didn't know the Knicks would go all in on him personally, which they did. So, but I couldn't be it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I've had a few scouts call and ask me about players while I was there, and I remember telling one guy, I was like, give him all the money. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, give Jalen all the money. Whatever he come up with, he deserves it. I said, so same with Dorian when Dorian got his deal. I'm like, give him all the money. Those guys are being around so long, you see guys that aren't about the right stuff. But it's fun to see the guys who are actually reap the benefits of their work and their character. So I wish for the Mavs, I wish Jalen would have stayed, but I mean, I know he's going to kill it in New York. So
got to do what he's got to do.
100%.
Can you think back to a time coaching the Mavs that a player like Brunson was coming up? He's kind of, you could debate on if him and Luka playing together long term and all of that, but maybe a player that was outgrowing their role, kind of, and you guys knew it as a coaching staff. You probably knew that he was thinking it too. How do you coach through a situation like that with a player that you're like, oh, there might be a ceiling on him here?
Well, let's go back 12 months. Kristaps. He wasn't going to be the guy. He needs to be somewhere where he can be the guy. So, I mean, that's the most recent thing I can bring up. Could they have excelled together? Yes. Will he be better with the Wizards? And obviously the Mavs took off, not because Kristaps left, but they played differently without him.
Yeah.
But I don't think Kristaps would have been as good as he can be or was prior being with Luka. So that's one that I can think of. Over time, we didn't have a ton of young guys that, were Jalen level. We liked people in the draft, and we took them. Like I thought Dennis was gonna, if Dennis would have gotten his shot right, and I thought he could be, because of his ridiculous explosiveness, he might have been a guy that had to move on. Unfortunately, he moved on for other we just they kind of decided to punt on him. But the way our roster was built over all those times, there was never like a guy that, hey, he's earning, and they always got moved.
Shane Larkin wasn't that guy, or?
Shane didn't excel until he got out of the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. He really didn't. I mean, he got hurt his rookie year in summer league with the ankle, but it's tough. We didn't routinely play young guys. The last guy that played a lot was Jay Crowder, and he had to play that year.
Yeah.
We needed that. So, for what it's not good, bad. It's just we weren't a team that played young guys, so there was never really a, hey, we're gonna lose this guy in 2 years because we're not gonna be able to pay him.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have the Mavs traded their pick a lot, and then
that's what I'm saying. The way we were constructed over time, we either are a good team and you had a late pick, or we had traded the picks, and then you get the Salas undrafted, you get the Dorians, the JJs, all these undrafted guys, or you move your second rounders. You weren't a team that's got, like OKC, that's got a dozen first round picks. You don't got guys that you're like, at some point we're going to lose them. You can't pay everybody. The Suns drafted Booker, they drafted Bridges, we never have those opportunities.
Yeah.
You got Luka. There you go. That's your one. And you got Dennis pretty high, but that was, like I said, that just didn't take. So I wouldn't say we really had an opportunity. Like I said, the Kristaps is the biggest thing, where you had two elite guys that it wasn't necessarily gonna jibe the whole time.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Got to ask shed here about JaVale McGee. This pod is brought to you by our best friends, Built Bar. I literally just got a package in the mail the other day that Built Bar sent me and is like, hey, we have a new flavor. Try it out. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar. If you haven't tried it, you need to try it. But guess what? Your friends at Built have given coconut brownie chunk the Puffs treatment as well. That's right. Coconut brownie chunk Built Bar flavor you love in a deliciously, what a word, chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. This fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. But stop drooling right now and listen. They're good for you. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, all delicious. All Built Bars are made with collagen protein with your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. The best part about Built Puffs is, of course, they taste amazing. Delicious coconut rich sweet brownie, creamy marshmallow. Stop fascinating. Stop fantasizing right now. Even Bryce at Locked On Rangers loves Built Bar. Go to built.com to order your box. Built.com, promo code LOCKED15, get 15% off your order. Promo code LOCKED15. All right, Mike. So you were coaching when JaVale's short stint in Dallas happened. What do you remember about that time?
Great dude. They said he was injured. We didn't get to see him a ton. So he had his leg thing where he was working through that, and he showed spurts. I mean, he's an elite roller rim protector guy. And with us, I even forget how long. Was he with us a whole season? I forget.
It wasn't too long.
And, you know, yes, when he was here, he some funny things about, like, he's a free spirit. He's a super nice. I mean, reminds me of Willie Cauley-Stein. Like, they're just free-spirited, happy guys. You know, just they're not a bad, mean bone in their body. He used to carry around his jug of water, you know, and he started his Jug Life Foundation. And, but, you know, I'm happy for him in that once he got healthy and got in places that could use him, you know, he's got 3 titles now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you were kind of like, you know, did he play a ton of minutes? No. But did he play meaningful minutes? Absolutely. So, which is all you can ask. So is he the answer? Does he jump the Mavs up? I don't know if he's that, but I mean, Luka, I don't think there's a better pick and roll guy in the league. So Luka with him, you know, I mean, is he a, you know, an 18 and 12 guy? No, he's not. Is he a 8 and 8 guy that can give you 23 minutes, 24 minutes, maybe? Maybe he is that guy, you know, that just gives you a different look at the 5. I mean, you're consistent. He can block shots, you know, which has been a problem for the Mavs. But let me pause real quick. Let me go shut the other door.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Let me go just shut it. All right, back to it. He's, you know, the fact that he's been named starter, which I always thought was a little wonky, but I'm happy for him. Like I said, he seems to have found the fountain of youth. He's healthy, which is a big deal, you know. So he's been in situations where he's been able to win and understand how it probably helped him. Like, he was around elite level pros and winning begets winning. You know, you got to learn how to get around that and how to do things.
Yeah.
So it's probably I didn't see that as like an earth-shattering move, but it could pay dividends, especially with Luka. I mean, Luka makes most people better. So
when you always hear about having championship experience on your team, and you're like, hey, that's a good thing. You have a guy that's won titles, been on these
can't
title
hurt.
teams.
Can't hurt.
When does that experience like help? When is that? Are there moments, whether I guess it's playoffs or times of conflict, whatever? When does that experience help a team?
Usually the rough stretch times, you lost 3 straight, or you're in the playoffs. For somebody who has been and won now, he's those are the guys that aren't gonna pull back from the group. They're gonna be more engaged and be like, hey, we can get past this, we can get through. So voices of reason, positive mindsets you get guys who haven't been in it and they can shrink. Guys that have been in it and seen it through, they're like, hey, we got to stay committed to the direction, committed to the cause, and usually the tough times, playoffs when you're down 0-2, when you're fighting for playoff position and you go through a rough stretch, being able to get everybody back on the same page and looking in the right direction. Those are the times that can really help.
Yeah. If him and Christian Wood play together some, even comparing it across the league, seeing Rudy and Cat together now, and even what Cleveland was doing last year, what do you think about this like double big lineup that some teams could run?
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, Gobert and Cat are an interesting. I mean, they're 2 huge guys, but like Christian's has a perimeter skill set. We messed around with him before he figured it out.
I forgot about that. Yeah, it was like camp or something, right?
Yeah, and he just didn't have it then. And then he bounced around a couple times, then got a chance to shine and made the most of it. But his growth has come. He had to go through some tough stretches because that was always the knock. Did he want it? What, did he play hard enough all the time? Was he able to become a consistent shooter? And he's shown that he's a great roller. Like I said, he's another guy that pick and roll stuff. You're going to pop him, you can roll him. There's a lot of things he can do. I thought that was one thing I was like, okay, they got better there. So, and a guy who's excited to play with Luka. Like, I think a lot of people do, but a guy that's like coming in like, all right, I'm in this mix now.
Yeah.
So, are JaVale and Wood going to be out there a ton together? They're going to be out there the first 5 to 6 minutes when they start, but I don't know that they're going to be out there closing time.
Yeah.
I can see Christian being the 5 in the closing moments, and then the way Jason has shown he likes to play with Dorian at 4 and whoever else. I mean, I hope they're not done with moves. Personally, yeah. So if a Mavs fan, I would hope they're not done, but their closing lineups, Luka, Tim's healthy, as long as they're keeping Tim, Dorian at the 4, whoever else at the 3, whether it's Dinwiddie, so they go 2 handlers, and Wood at the 5. Now you got people who can stretch the floor all over.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what they get to, but that would seem to me more along the lines of what Jason has shown he likes to do.
It's kind of random, but what would Dirk be in today's game? You think he would be, the a lone 5 and like a small ball lineup, or you think he'd still be ran with a big, like a Tyson type?
The thing with Dirk is, as smart as he was, and he knew how to think his way defensively, you'd really be putting yourself at a disadvantage to play a whole season with him as the 5. I think you'd need to have another person. Personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could play some games and you could play particular series with it. I don't know that you could play huge chunks with him at the 5.
Yeah. You wouldn't want him down there banging down low with
for sure.
Embiid and Jokic and those guys.
Yeah, that's not helping you.
Yeah.
That's not it. As worldly talented as he was, that's not the. I don't think you're doing the best thing for your group if that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Full time.
You mentioned a while ago you hope that the Mavs are not done. What do you think? Like, if they're like, "Hey, Mike Shed, what do we need?" What do you think they'll go out and get before the season starts?
I'd have to look at and I saw the free agent list. I think they need another wing. I think they need somebody who can score, shoot, and defend. I mean, they need a 3-and-D guy, another guy that can go. Like, I love Dorian. Dorian can't play 40 minutes, you know. Reggie, Dinwiddie, like Bertans is, you know, he's interesting because he gives you a consistent NBA skill. He can shoot it, but you're not playing him 25 minutes in a 7-game series. You're not playing him every night. You know, what's interesting, Hardy. Is Hardy a better version of Josh Green? You know, I guess that's to be determined.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a good get for him. We'll see. If I watched minimal summer league, hardly any. I was out there for a minute, but is he? I think the G League night thing was good for him as a young guy, and he seemed to show spurts in summer league, it's summer league, but it is NBA caliber people, so it's just what they can do in that range. Like I love Tim has got to get back to form, and if they were to do something. Like they already moved a bunch of guys, you know. I don't know how many spots they have to fill. I mean, they moved four guys into
4 guys for Christian Wood, yeah. And then signed JaVale, I guess. But
okay, so you filled one, but
bringing Theo back.
Which, if he's that great in the locker room, then that's probably a smart move. Like I said, does he play? No. Is he great everywhere else? Then
yeah.
Then you got to keep them.
Yeah.
Locker room guys it's never bad having locker room guys.
All right, we're going to take one more quick break. We'll be right back. All right. I want to talk about just the draft stuff, continue on that a little bit when talking about Hardy, Josh Green. I won't ask, has there been a time? What about a situation to where maybe a player is selected that like the head coach isn't on board with, that you come into camp and you're like, all right, I know that was management's guy, but not like head coach's guy. How's that tension and how do you like kind of work through that?
Well, once you have them, you got to coach who you got, you know? So, but you also know that there can be a time where that guy's going to have to overcome a prejudiced view on his talent, you know?
Yeah.
So a head coach determines who plays. So no head coach is going to stop a guy, is going to hurt his team to not play a guy. So it just may take that guy a little more proving to get in. So, but I don't know too many staffs that aren't in lockstep when it comes down to it. I mean, you may have player A and player B, and the owner's like, I want player A, and your whole other group says, we want player B, and the owner says, we're doing this, then that's now the gospel. So, okay, that's our guy. Yeah. But usually it's the head coach, the president of basketball, and Cuban's obviously involved. They're going to say, hey, here's where we're at. These are the guys we like here. We like this guy for this reason, this guy for this reason, and then they kind of make do. So it's very infrequent you're going to get a guy where, hey, we took this guy and the head coach was adamantly opposed to him. You know? He may be like, I hate how he shoots, or don't like his IQ. I like this guy because of this. Once they get in the gym, they're going to try to work into however they need to play him anyways. So
Yeah.
people may have short-term hurt feelings, but they get over it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often.
When we were talking about Brunson earlier and thinking that, I thought he'd be back with Dallas. And can you think back to a time that you went into an offseason and you thought something was going to happen with a player, whether a player you thought for sure he was coming back, or you thought a player was for sure leaving and then they came back? Or they did the opposite of what you thought?
You talking like opt-ins and opt-outs or
Yeah.
that type of thing?
Yeah.
Nowadays with the money, it's when so and so opted into his 41 million. Like I'm like, hey, Captain Obvious, from the
Breaking news. John Wall picked up his 47.
Yeah, John Wall picked up his 47 million option. Those deals. I can go back. Yogi. Rick loved Yogi. Team loved Yogi. We thought he would come with us, and he went to SAC for fractionally different money, which when you look at taxing and stuff, was less money.
Wow.
It was a little, that was kind of like, oh, we thought we for sure would have Yogi back.
Yeah.
I mean, there was when Roddy B, when he finally transitioned on, he had so many spurts of, wow, look what he could be. And it just never, the guys that never quite develop to where you're like, they kind of got to go. Like they're not helping you.
Yeah.
I like to tell this story real quick about when I was coaching college in South Carolina at Furman. We had a kid that came to every camp in Greenville, South Carolina. He came from 5th grade, was always at camp. And you're like, man, this kid could be pretty good. And he'd get better. 6th grade was better. 7th grade, 8th grade was better. Got to high school, stopped growing, and didn't improve 1 ounce. Like we almost offered him as a 9th grader because we're like, this kid is just skyrocketed every summer. And then he just plateaued. Every once in a while you'll get one of those guys in the league where you're like, what he showed rookie year and then end of rookie summer, and then the next year the motivation's gone or the work level leaves, or you bring somebody in that's better. That's the Mavs' job. That's any team's job, is to continually get better guys. So either you keep working to improve yourself or you fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
And so every front office job is to get their roster as good as possible. And if that means getting better players than the ones you got, and those people end up guys who are big minute guys no longer get to play, then so be it.
Yeah.
So it's it doesn't happen, super often, but everybody's seen the guys who get contracts and the next thing you know, they don't get any better.
Yeah.
The motivation to improve is no longer there. Harden. I love how he said, I took less money. You can still buy dinner, bro. You can still take vacation. You're not, broke. But then you hear that he's dropped weight, lean, like an off year of people hammering you. And you're like, okay, I don't like that. Let me get back in the lab. Yeah. So it's good when you have guys that are just that way and don't need an off year to motivate to get it back. But like Luka seems to be even playing those friendlies, I guess, that little tournament they played a couple weeks ago. I mean, he was out there doing work.
Yeah.
Hitting sky hooks and all that stuff. So, he seems to be, he got a taste. I mean, he got close. He got the Western Conference Finals. I mean, you got close.
Yeah.
So the motivation for everybody to improve has got to be there, and that's got to front office to players. So
What players over the years off the top of your head that just lived in the lab? Just they were blowing up your phone or the trainers or whoever saying, you couldn't get them out of the gym.
Well, they've got a few of them now. I mean, Dwight has been like that. Bless his heart. He's in there forever. That's one thing about Jalen. Jalen has been about that. He says, I need to get my stuff, and I need to get my practice, and I need to get more stuff later. You know, Dirk was like that. Tim Hardaway's like that. So you can see existing guys that they have are like that. But who was it that, I mean, bless his heart, Boban, you had to tell him to leave. He just loved hoops. He'd grab anybody to work out with him. Hey, let's go get some of this. Let me post up with, those guys are, a lot of people like to do it in quiet, don't like to announce, hey, so-and-so comes back at night. A lot of guys come back at night when the staff isn't there. So they'll get a rebounder or something. But it's that's what you want. That's what most of these guys are about, and they see they got to do it. There would be, like I said, there'd be days where you have to, all our guys would come in before I left. There'd be days where it was mandated closed gym, not just off day.
Yeah.
Which usually meant that was just no organized practice. You still had guys coming in and shoot and weights and stuff. There were days where Casey would be like, the gym is closed tomorrow. See you Wednesday. So, you kind of had to have those days because mentally you just can't go in there.
Yeah. I was in a new facility the other day and seeing some stuff, and it's like, the sleep pods and
That was all there
chef
after I left.
and all that. All right, one last question. Obviously, the Durant situation in Brooklyn, asked for the trade, all of that. I mean, your time in Dallas. Do you remember when a player asked for a trade and just like, was it awkward with the team, or does everybody just like understand it? Or like, if he comes back, that's why if he comes back and they don't trade him, what's that feeling around the team? And did you have an example of that?
Well, we never really had a forced. I'm trying to think back. I mean, the Rondo thing went heinously awful toward the end. But we never really had. Oh, Josh Howard went through. I don't know if he asked for a trade. He ended up getting hurt. So I can't really remember a time where we had a guy. But you always read these things and you see these things. It's ultimately you got to hope that they're pros and they're, like I said, these guys don't have to hang out and go to each other's parties and hang out at their houses and go to barbecues. They got to play together. So now it sounds like Kyrie will be like, hey, I'm back. I can play with KD. KD sounds like he would rather still get moved now that he's for sure that Kyrie's back. At the end of the day, you would hope that the professionalism wins out and that, hey, it's a tough place. It's a tough spot for Steve Nash. And he's got a whole new staff. He's got all new staff. So they're going to have to try to integrate two people that don't really like playing with each other, or at least one that doesn't like playing with the other one. Kyrie may love playing with KD, but KD may not love playing with Kyrie. So it's a touchy subject, and that goes from the front office to the coaching staff to the training staff. They all have to try to meld those guys back together and find a common ground on, hey, we are two of the more talented guys in the league, and we should be a better team. We shouldn't be an 8 seed. We shouldn't be in the play-in.
Yeah.
So collectively, we need to figure that out. Like I said, professionalism over personal feelings hopefully wins out.
Wow.
because it can be awkward early. For sure. Hey, I tried to break up with you, but I didn't, and now we got to stay together. So
will you go to prom?
yeah, you want to? No, everybody else said no. You want to go to prom? You know?
All right, Mike. Thank you so much for hopping on.
Anytime.
You're a great guest always, and wish you best of luck. Hopefully, I see you soon.
Appreciate you, Isaac. Thanks, bro.